Listen, most people try too hard. They overthink, they overanalyze, and they care way too much about what others think. And the truth is, the more you chase, the more it runs from you. The more you cling, the faster it slips through your fingers. Life has a funny way of rewarding the person who's relaxed, confident, and focused on themselves, rather than desperately seeking validation from everything and everyone outside of them. When you stop caring, really stop caring, you free yourself. You free yourself from anxiety, from overthinking, from all that unnecessary pressure you put on yourself. And the crazy part, that's when things start to fall into place. That's when opportunities, relationships, and success start to flow effortlessly into your life. When you care too much about an outcome, you create resistance. Think about it for a moment. When you want something so badly that you're constantly obsessing over it, you're actually sending out the energy of lack. You're telling yourself, I don't have this yet. I need it. I'm incomplete without it. That energy is heavy. It's desperate. And instead of pulling things toward you, it pushes them away. Whether it's in business, relationships, or personal goals, the principle is the same. Over caring becomes the very thing that blocks your progress. We've all experienced this. Imagine you're waiting for that phone call after a job interview. You're glued to your phone, checking every 5 minutes, stressing, overthinking, rehearsing what you said, replaying the conversation in your mind. What happens? The phone feels like it never rings. And even if it does, you sound nervous, tense, and unsure when you finally answer. Why? Because over-caring shifted you from a state of confidence into a state of fear. The energy you project when you're too invested in the outcome is not attractive. It's actually repellent. Now contrast that with someone who's relaxed, who goes into the interview, does their best, and then lets it go. They don't sit around worrying. They don't beg for an outcome. They trust that if it's the right fit, it will work out. That's the person who gets the call back. That's the person who's remembered. Why? Because they weren't needy. They weren't trying to force it. They allowed the opportunity to flow naturally instead of strangling it with worry. This same truth shows up in relationships. If you meet someone new and immediately start over caring, texting too much, trying too hard to impress, constantly seeking reassurance, you'll notice they begin to back away. They feel the pressure. They sense that neediness, and instead of being drawn to you, they retreat. But when you approach with calm confidence, when you're not overly attached to whether it works out or not, you create space for the connection to grow naturally. Overcaring kills attraction. Detachment creates it. Even in personal growth, this principle applies. If you're obsessed with achieving a goal, say losing weight, making money, or building a business, you might actually sabotage yourself. You'll overtrain, overwork, burn out, and make mistakes out of sheer desperation. The stress of overcaring causes you to act from fear instead of power. But when you take consistent action, focus on the process, and stop obsessing over how fast results are coming, that's when momentum builds. Results come when you let go of the pressure and trust the grind. The psychology behind this is simple. The human brain performs best when relaxed, not when anxious. Overcaring activates the stress response, and when that happens, your clarity drops, your creativity shrinks, and your confidence disappears. You're operating in survival mode. You're reacting instead of leading. But when you detach, when you stop caring so much about every little detail, your mind clears. You think sharper, you act with certainty, and people feel that energy. That's what makes opportunities chase you instead of you chasing them. So understand this, caring too much is a form of fear. It's fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of failure, and that fear poisons your actions. But when you release the fear, when you stop over caring, you step into freedom, you step into strength, you step into alignment with the results you want. Life rewards the bold, the calm, the confident, not the desperate. And that's why overcaring will always push results away. Detachment is freedom, and freedom is power. The moment you let go of the need to control outcomes, you unlock a version of yourself that is calmer, stronger, and far more effective. Think about how much stress people carry because they're always trying to force life to go a certain way. They're gripping so tightly, worrying endlessly, and fighting against reality itself. But when you finally release that grip, when you let go and detach, that's when you breathe again. That's when your mind clears. That's when you experience true freedom. The problem with attachment is that it ties your happiness to something outside of you. You say, I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll feel good when I'm in that relationship. I'll finally relax when I have X amount of money. And in doing so, you put yourself in chains. You're no longer free in the present moment because your peace of mind is always being held hostage by some future outcome. Detachment breaks those chains. It says, I'm good now. I'm enough now, and anything extra is just a bonus. That mindset is liberation. Detachment doesn't mean you stop wanting things. It doesn't mean you give up ambition, goals, or drive. It means you stop needing them to feel whole. There's a big difference between wanting something and being desperate for it. When you want, you act with clarity and purpose. When you're desperate, you act with fear and anxiety. Detachment takes the edge off desperation. It allows you to move toward your goals with calm confidence without the constant weight of, what if I don't get this? Hanging over your head. This shows up everywhere in life. In relationships, detachment is what makes someone attractive. When you're detached, you're not clinging, you're not begging, you're not constantly worried about whether they'll stay or go. Instead, you're living your life focused on your purpose and inviting them to share in it. That's magnetic. People want to be around someone who is free, not someone who's trapped in neediness. Detachment communicates strength, and strength is irresistible. In your career, detachment is equally powerful. If you're attached to every outcome, whether a boss approves of you, whether a client signs, whether someone praises your work, you become a slave to circumstances you can't control. But when you detach, you take your power back. You still give your best. You still deliver results. But your sense of self-worth doesn't rise and fall based on the reactions of others. You remain steady no matter what. And ironically, that steadiness makes people respect you more. Freedom from attachment also gives you peace in failure. Most people fear failure because they're attached to success. They believe if things don't go perfectly, it means they're not good enough. But detachment rewrites that narrative. Detachment says, I'll give my best effort, and if it doesn't work out, I'll learn, adjust, and try again. That's real freedom. That's resilience. That's the mindset that turns setbacks into stepping stones instead of roadblocks. Ultimately, detachment is about trust, trusting yourself, trusting the process, trusting that life has a way of working out when you stop trying to strangle every outcome. It's about knowing that you are enough with or without that job, that relationship, that recognition. And when you live from that place of detachment, you don't just find freedom, you find power. Because a free person can't be manipulated. A free person can't be broken by loss. A free person is unstoppable. And that's the gift detachment gives you, freedom. And from freedom, everything else flows. Everything in life is energy. The thoughts you think, the emotions you feel, the vibe you carry, these are not invisible forces without effect. They shape your reality. They influence how people see you, how they respond to you, and what kind of results show up in your life. If you walk into a room filled with anxiety, tension, and desperation, people will sense it immediately. They may not even know why, but something about you will feel off. On the other hand, if you walk in calm, confident, and relaxed, you shift the entire atmosphere. That's the power of energy. When you're desperate, when you're clinging, when you're over-caring, your energy says, I need something I don't have. That energy repels. It pushes people away. Think about someone who's overly eager on a first date, laughing too hard at every joke, agreeing with everything you say, clearly trying to win approval. You don't feel drawn to them, you feel turned off. Their energy is screaming, I'm not enough on my own. I need you to validate me. That's not attractive. That's repellent. Now flip it. Imagine someone who sits across from you, relaxed, smiling, comfortable in their own skin. They don't rush to fill silences. They don't try to convince you of their value. They know they're enough. Their energy communicates abundance, certainty, and ease. And because of that, you're drawn to them. You want to be around them. You want more of what they have. That's how powerful energy is. It creates outcomes without you even having to say a word. This principle is true not only in relationships, but also in business and personal growth. If you approach opportunities from fear of missing out, fear of failure, fear of rejection, your energy sabotages you. You may say the right words, but underneath, people feel the hesitation, they feel the insecurity. But if you approach with certainty, with an energy that says, I trust myself, I trust the process, I'll be fine no matter what, you'll notice doors start opening. People respond differently. Opportunities flow toward you. Because energy is contagious and people naturally gravitate towards strength. The fascinating part is that energy is not about what you do. It's about who you are when you do it. Two people can take the same action, make the same phone call, pitch the same idea, say the same words, but one succeeds and the other fails. Why? Because one carried energy of fear, while the other carried energy of certainty. It's not just the action, it's the vibration behind it. That's why focusing only on tactics without mastering your energy will always leave you frustrated. You can memorize the perfect lines, the perfect strategies, the perfect steps, but if your energy is needy, it won't work. So the question becomes, how do you shift your energy? The answer is simple. You work on your inner state. You detach from outcomes. You stop over caring. You focus on being present, grateful, and confident in who you are. You tell yourself, I'm enough as I am. I don't need this outcome to complete me. That self-talk, repeated consistently, changes the way you show up. It transforms your body language, your tone, your presence. And soon, the energy you carry naturally aligns with the outcomes you want. At the end of the day, energy is the silent language of success. People don't just listen to your words, they feel your vibe. They feel whether you're calm or anxious, whether you're needy or secure, whether you're desperate or abundant. And life mirrors back to you whatever energy you send out. If you radiate fear, you'll attract situations that feed that fear. If you radiate confidence, you'll attract opportunities that match that confidence. Energy creates outcomes. It always has and it always will. A lot of people get this twisted. They hear stop caring and they think it means stop trying. They assume detachment means laziness, indifference, or giving up. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Not caring does not mean you sit back, do nothing, and wait for life to hand you results. Not caring means you still show up, you still put in the work, you still give your best effort. But the difference is, you're not obsessing about how it's going to turn out. You're not attaching your identity, your happiness, or your self-worth to the outcome. That's the key. Think about an athlete. The best players in the world train relentlessly. They practice, they study film, they condition their bodies, they put in the hours. But when it's game time, they're not thinking, I hope I don't mess up, I hope I don't lose, I hope I win, or else my whole life is ruined. No. They trust their preparation, they let go of the outcome and allow the game to flow. They play free, they play loose. And that's why they perform at the highest level. That's what not caring looks like. It's not giving less effort, it's giving full effort without carrying the weight of desperation. In relationships, the same principle applies. Not caring doesn't mean you ignore the person you're dating. It doesn't mean you play cold or act like you don't value them. It means you care enough to show up, to be present, to enjoy the time together. But you don't make them the source of your identity. You don't cling to them out of fear of being alone. You don't beg for their attention or try to force their affection. You give your best self. But if it doesn't work out, you're still whole. That's the balance. It's effort without obsession. In business, not caring doesn't mean you stop serving clients, stop working hard, or stop striving for excellence. It means you continue giving value, you continue building, but you don't panic when things don't happen overnight. You don't obsess over every rejection or every missed opportunity. You trust that if you keep putting in quality work, the right results will follow. The most successful entrepreneurs aren't the ones who freak out every time something goes wrong. They're the ones who keep showing up calmly, consistently, and persistently. That's what creates long-term success. The truth is, when you confuse not caring with not trying, you fall into extremes. One extreme is desperation, where you overcare, cling, chase, and repel results. The other extreme is apathy, where you stop caring completely, do nothing, and wonder why life isn't changing. Neither one works. The sweet spot is right in the middle. It's called detached effort. You work, you hustle, you prepare, but then you release. You let go of trying to force it. You live in that balance of effort and detachment, and that's where results come. The reason this balance is so powerful is because it keeps you in control of the only thing you can control, your actions. You can't control the outcome. You can't control how other people respond. You can't control the timing of every result, but you can control how you show up, what you do, and the energy you bring. When you shift your focus from, I need the outcome, to, I'll give my best and let the outcome take care of itself, you free yourself. You stop stressing over what you can't control and master what you can. That's real power. So never mistake not caring for giving up. The people who succeed in life care deeply about their work, their craft, their relationships, and their growth. But they don't care about chasing approval. They don't care about forcing outcomes. They don't care about begging for results. They show up fully, give their best, and then let it go. That's not laziness. That's mastery. Because when you stop caring in the right way, that's when results finally come. Relaxation is power. When you're relaxed, when you're calm, when you're at ease, people feel it. They're drawn to it. They want to be around it. Because most people live in a state of constant tension, worrying, stressing, overthinking, trying to control everything. So when someone walks in who's truly relaxed, who's comfortable in their own skin, it stands out. It feels rare. It feels magnetic. Relaxation isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the mark of someone who trusts themselves and trusts life. Think about the last time you were around someone who was anxious. They talked too fast. They couldn't sit still. They made everything feel rushed and pressured. Did you feel drawn to them? Or did you feel drained? Now contrast that with someone who's calm. Someone who speaks slowly, who listens deeply, who carries themselves with quiet confidence. That person makes you feel safe. That person makes you feel good. And that's why you want to stay around them. Relaxation is an energy, And that energy attracts in relationships. This principle is crystal clear. If you're uptight, insecure, and constantly stressing about whether someone likes you, you become exhausting to be around. Your energy screams, "I'm not enough. Please choose me." And people run from that. But if you're relaxed, if you smile easily, if you laugh, if you enjoy the moment, you create space for connection. You're not clinging. You're not chasing. You're just being. That's what makes someone irresistible. They're not trying too hard. They're just present, grounded, and relaxed. The same applies in business. Imagine two salespeople. One is nervous, rushing through the pitch, desperate to close the deal. The other is calm, confident, and unbothered whether the client says yes or no. Who gets the deal? The relaxed one, because their energy communicates certainty. They're not trying to force or manipulate, they're just presenting value, and if it's a fit, great. If not, no problem. Clients trust that energy. Relaxation inspires confidence, and confidence inspires results. Relaxation also fuels performance. When you're tense, your body tightens, your mind narrows, and you make mistakes. But when you're relaxed, your movements are fluid, your mind is clear, and you perform at your peak. This is why athletes and performers talk so much about being in the zone. The zone is just deep relaxation under pressure. It's the ability to trust your training, trust your instincts, and let things flow. The more relaxed you are, the better you perform, and the more magnetic your presence becomes. The deeper truth is this: relaxation shows faith. It shows you're not afraid. You're not worried about loss. You're not controlled by fear. You're grounded in yourself and in your ability to handle whatever comes. That's what makes people respect you. That's what makes them lean in. Because deep down, everyone is searching for certainty. And when you're relaxed, you embody certainty. You become the calm in the storm. And people always want to be close to the calm in the storm. So understand this: tension repels, but relaxation attracts. Desperation pushes away, but calmness pulls in. When you relax, you radiate strength, you radiate abundance. You radiate the energy of someone who doesn't need to chase because they know they're enough. And that energy is magnetic. That energy brings people opportunities and success right to your door. Relaxation isn't just comfort, it's strategy, it's power. It's the secret weapon that most people overlook. And once you master it, everything in your life begins to shift. Authenticity is the ultimate superpower. When you're authentic, when you're real, when you're unapologetically yourself, people feel it. They trust it. They're drawn to it. Because here's the truth: most of the world is fake. Most people wear masks. They say what they think others want to hear. They hide their flaws. They play roles they perform instead of living. And deep down, everyone can sense it. That's why authenticity is so rare, and that's why it's so powerful. The real always wins. Think about the people you admire most. They're not perfect. They're not flawless. They make mistakes. But they own who they are. They speak their truth. They don't try to impress everyone. And because of that, you respect them. You might not always agree with them, but you trust them. Why? Because authenticity communicates strength. It says, "I'm enough as I am. I don't need to hide. I don't need to fake it. What you see is what you get." That's magnetic. In relationships, authenticity is everything. If you're putting on an act, pretending to be cooler, richer, or more confident than you are, it might work for a little while, but eventually the truth comes out. And when it does, trust is broken. But when you're authentic from the start, you attract people who actually like you for you, not for the mask you wore, not for the image you tried to sell. And that's the foundation for real connection, because real connection can only exist when the real you shows up. The same principle holds true in business and leadership. People follow leaders they trust, and trust is built on authenticity. If you're fake, if you're just saying buzzwords, giving polished speeches, pretending to care, people feel it. They tune out. But if you speak honestly, if you admit when you're wrong, if you lead from a place of transparency, people rally around you. Authenticity creates loyalty. It creates respect. It creates influence, because people can tell when you're genuine, and genuine always beats fake. Authenticity also gives you peace. When you're living authentically, you don't have to remember which mask you wore, what story you told, or what image you tried to project. You're free. You don't waste energy pretending. You don't carry the constant anxiety of, what if they find out the truth? Because you're already living your truth. That freedom makes you lighter, happier, and more grounded. And ironically, it makes you more attractive because people can sense your inner peace. Here's the thing: authenticity doesn't mean you're careless or rude. It doesn't mean you dump every unfiltered thought onto the world. It means you live aligned with your values. You speak from your truth. You stop chasing approval and start honoring yourself. And when you live that way, you naturally attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right results. Because life rewards those who are brave enough to be real. The fake may win for a season, but the real wins for a lifetime. So stop hiding, stop pretending, stop shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's box. Be authentic, be bold, be raw, because authenticity isn't just about being yourself, it's about being your best self without apology. And when you show up that way, people will notice, they'll respect you. They'll trust you, they'll follow you. Authenticity wins every time. Trusting the process is one of the hardest lessons in life, yet it's the most liberating. We live in a world obsessed with instant results, instant money, instant success, instant love. People want everything now. And when it doesn't come right away, they panic, they quit, or they try to force it. But here's the truth, nothing worthwhile happens overnight. Growth takes time, success takes time, healing takes time. The process is the journey, and if you don't learn to trust it, you'll always sabotage yourself before the breakthrough arrives. Think about nature. A seed doesn't become a tree in a day. It needs sunlight, water, and time. If you dig it up every morning to see if it's growing, you'll kill it. The same is true with your goals, your dreams, your relationships. You plant seeds through your actions, discipline, effort, persistence. But then you have to trust the process. You can't constantly obsess. Is it working? Is it growing? Am I there yet? That anxiety ruins the flow. Trusting the process means knowing that if you keep showing up, results will come in their own time. This principle is especially important in relationships. Too many people meet someone and want instant certainty. They want to know on the second date if this is the one. They want guarantees. And in that rush, they push too hard. They smother the connection. But love doesn't work like that. Trusting the process in relationships means letting things unfold naturally, letting bonds deepen at their own pace, and not forcing someone into a role before they're ready. When you trust the process, you allow love to grow instead of trying to control it. In your career or business, trusting the process is the difference between those who quit and those who win. Everyone faces setbacks. Everyone hits walls. But the ones who succeed are those who stay consistent. Even when results aren't immediate, they keep showing up, improving, learning, adjusting. They trust that all the small actions, compounded over time, will create massive results. The impatient ones quit too soon, right before things start to shift. But those who trust the process eventually reap the rewards. Trusting the process also builds resilience. Life won't always go the way you planned. Sometimes the process includes failures, rejections, and disappointments. But if you see those as part of the journey, not the end, you'll keep going. You'll realize every setback was shaping you, teaching you, preparing you for something greater. That's what trusting the process really means, believing that even the detours have purpose, believing that nothing is wasted, and that every step is taking you somewhere important. The deeper reason people struggle with trusting the process is fear of wasting time, fear of failure, fear that they're not enough. But trust kills fear. Trust says, I don't need all the answers right now, I just need to keep moving. Trust says, I believe my effort will pay off, even if I can't see the results yet. And when you live with that kind of faith, you stop panicking. You stop rushing. You stop sabotaging. You learn patience, and patience is power. So remember this, the process is your teacher. The process shapes you. The process prepares you. If everything came instantly, you wouldn't appreciate it. You wouldn't grow into the person capable of sustaining it. Trusting the process means trusting yourself, trusting life, and trusting timing. And when you truly do that, you stop living in constant anxiety about when or how. You simply show up, do the work, and let the rest unfold. And that's when the magic happens, because when you trust the process, results always come. So here's what it all comes down to. You've heard me break down the principles. You've heard me talk about why over-caring pushes things away, why detachment gives you freedom, why your energy shapes every outcome, why not caring doesn't mean not trying, why relaxation pulls people and opportunities towards you, why authenticity always wins, and why trusting the process is the ultimate key. But none of this matters unless you live it. Unless you take these truths out of your head and start embodying them in your daily life. This isn't about memorizing concepts. This is about becoming the kind of person who naturally radiates confidence, calmness, and certainty. It's about shifting from desperation to abundance, from fear to faith, from control to flow. You don't need to chase, you don't need to beg, you don't need to force. What you need is to show up, give your best, and then let go. That's the sweet spot. That's where results come. When you stop caring about what you can't control, when you stop tying your worth to outcomes, when you start trusting yourself and trusting life, you unlock a level of power most people never experience. Life will test you. People will test you. Circumstances will test you. And in those moments, you'll be tempted to overthink, to cling, to panic. But if you can stay centered, if you can stay relaxed, if you can stay authentic and keep trusting the process, you'll always come out ahead. Because life doesn't reward the desperate, it rewards the grounded, it rewards the calm. It rewards the person who knows they're enough with or without the outcome. So decide right here, right now, that you're done chasing. You're done over caring. You're done trying to control everything. From this point forward, you show up, you give your best, and you let life unfold. Because when you stop caring the wrong way, when you detach, relax, stay authentic, and trust the process, the right people, the right opportunities, and the right results will come to you.